You tell me what to do.
I did tell him what to do. I'm kidding. I asked nicely. I said, hey, I want to build an arbor that looks like a pergola but has planters with some lattice going up it. And he said, I need plans. So I tried. His drawing was much better, by the way. But he figured out what sizes we needed to make everything. I had already measured the bench. And so we knew the depth and the height that I wanted it and the width of the bench. And we knew that I wanted to put climbing roses inside the planters. And in order to have the climbing roses in the planters, I needed a lot of room for their roots. And so we built 2 giant planters. We ended up cutting 4, well, we didn't have to cut them. They were already 8 foot. We bought some red cedar at 8 foot. It was 2 by 4 by 8. And so we had 4 8 foot, and then we cut down, well, he cut it down, 12 2.5 foot, and I believe it was 8 2 foot boards. I will make sure of that and put it in the description. All of it will be listed in the description below. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment down below so that way we can try to answer it the best we can. If you guys want some kind of plans, let me know and I'll have him draw up the rest of the plans because he doesn't have quite everything in the plans that he did draw, but just let us know and I'll have him draw them up and I'll take a picture of it and put it in the community tab so you can go and look at it. But anyways, so we're just putting together the planters. We used the pocket hole jig, and we're using just like regular 2-inch wood screws. I know, we're supposed to use pocket hole screws, whatever. I don't care, that's not what we used, okay? So we use what we want to use, and we worry about it later, okay? No, we're really not mean people, but that's what we had, so that's what we used. We didn't go out and try to completely break our bank, okay? The wood was expensive on its own. I know you guys know. If anybody is here and is interested in wood and building things with wood, you already know what the cost of wood is. So we didn't go out and buy those screws. Anyway, so we're putting together the planters, and so we've got 2 8-foot boards and 6 2.5-foot boards and 4 2-foot boards. And we're going to put all that together. I do believe that the planter, so it was 2.5 foot in depth, and the planter is 2 feet wide by 2.5 feet tall. And then it has those 8-foot boards on the back for the lattice. Hopefully I got that all right. Otherwise, well, you'll just have to look in the description to see if I got it correct. I kept grabbing the wrong boards and trying to line them up with other boards, and he'd be like, wrong board, wrong angle. So anyways, I should have put that in there too. I should have saved that part for you to hear. But anyways, he cracks me up. So we're in there. We've almost got this one all put together by now. I mean, it really didn't happen that fast, but wouldn't that have been nice? No, it felt like it was happening that fast. We worked together pretty good. And it was pretty funny. We had some moments. This is where he is cutting the parts of the pergola, the longer pieces, the front and back. So he's cutting 2 of those, and they are 6 foot 3 inches, the front and the back. And then he goes through and he cuts the 45 degree, I believe it was about halfway, like the center of that board on the end is where it stopped. I could be wrong. I could be way off. I'll have to ask him. Ooh, look at that. Yep, take a little break to watch the vacuum suck up some dust.
I like the flag out, Mama. Just gonna high five.
And those are my guys, and I love them. They're all just as silly as I am. Maybe I'm a little more silly, but we all are a happy, silly family, okay? It's the only way to live life. I cannot remember the distance of the boards that he is screwing in right now. So I will have to get that from him, and I'll put it in the description. But that is what the 8-foot boards are going to be attached to the pergola is going to be attached to the 8-foot boards, so that way it will stay on top and won't fall off. Here we are just cutting I can't remember what joint this is called. I should have Googled it. I'm still learning, people, okay? So it's a little notch to where when it sets on top of the front and the back of the pergola and creates those cross slats, it'll just snug on there. We glued and screwed them, and then he's cutting the front one. I do know that they were 36 inches from end of board to the front of that first notch. I don't know if that made any sense, but you would have to measure or make a little mark on your boards in order to know where to put those little notches, the notch outs. So that way they will just snug onto the front and back of the pergola. I really should have thought about how to explain that better, but oh yeah, and we had a bunch of fence pickets, and I can't tell you how many we cut because we didn't write it down, and I don't even remember exactly what size they were. They were slightly shorter, so they were at least 2 foot 4 inches, 2 foot, I don't know, but anyways, just enough to cover up those pocket holes and left a little bitty rim for us to be able to staple some landscape fabric to the sides. Here we are, putting them in and brad nailing them. And this is where it started to get really exciting. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think cedar is gorgeous. And I actually didn't even know how pretty it was until we built some chairs for our front patio. And yeah, and now we've built a whole lot of other things since. And the majority of it is out of cedar, so there you go. And it smells good. Just stapling that stuff in there. Hopefully it does some good. I didn't want any soil popping out anywhere. By the way, these things took so much soil. You will see soon. It was crazy amounts of soil. And I recommend just going to like a garden nursery or whatever. Find out if they sell soil that you can just either have delivered to you or bring home yourself instead of buying a bunch of bags, because I have no idea how much that would have cost. I think what he bought was somewhere around $75 worth of soil, and we did have some left over, so we probably could have just went with just the $50, and it probably would have been fine. I don't know though, but better to be safe than sorry anyways. So, but here's where those little cross slats go on the front and back. Do you see what I'm saying, where the little notch outs were? So you can just put them on there, mark them, and then go through and make your cuts with the plunge saw if you have one. I recommend having one, by the way. That thing was fun to use. Now we're just gluing and screwing again. You just gotta glue it and screw it down and make sure that It's not going anywhere. And then I went ahead and filled it all with the Minwax Woodfiller. And I used, what is it called? Cabot Australian Timber oil in natural. And just sealed it. The rain just runs right off of it. It's kind of cool. Although I do, if we were to do this again, which we might in the future, who knows, I would like to seal the inside before we put the landscape fabric in. That was my bad. Oops. I think Phillip even mentioned it too, if I recall correctly. And so, yeah, it was my bad. But anyways, we get it all sealed. And now to take it out and put it together. I am pretty sure that was under 15 seconds, so we shouldn't get in trouble for it. But all day, that's what it's like with my very sweet hubby. He is funny. He comes up with some stuff, and it's funny. So we've been having, I don't even know, so much moisture. It's been rainy and windy. The spring has been very, very moist. It is just crazy. I'm like, what is happening? I mean, I'm not complaining because our grass is very green and we've had to water it very little. Everything's been great. Oh, here we go. Making the lattice. It really wasn't that hard. I didn't go crazy. Like, we decided not to do the diamond one. We just did the squares. Because, one, I think it would look better on this specific arbor. So we did the squares, and so I cut these boards at 1.5 inches for width, and they made the most perfect little lattice going up the back of those planters. So it's really cute. Or I guess the side, I don't know if you would really consider it the back, but here I am putting up a board that's going to stop, like I will be able to attach the lattice to it instead of just attaching it to the 8-foot boards. And I used another little piece that I had cut off of one of the ends of these boards because I needed them to be 5'6", I believe. I believe they're 5'6". And so the end of that board, I used it to make sure that I would be able to put the lattice on the back of that, and it worked out perfectly. Alright, and here we go. Here's the start of the lattice. And I'm just attaching them with Tite Bond 3 wood glue and the brad nailer. Making sure they're level, making sure they're a specific width apart. It was like a little over 8 inches, I think, apart. I did the math, which is funny because I'm horrible at math, but I did it right because it actually fit. I would have to do the math again, and I don't want to. So you just put them in there, and I dropped things like crazy. I dropped the level, and I dropped one of the lattice boards. But you just attach them, and they're good to go. As long as you have them close to, as close to evenly apart as you can on both sides, you're good. So here was the stopping point for that day. It was really warm that day, which is funny because it really has been in the 70s and 60s. Here I am attaching the middle board, which creates the squares. And it also gives some structure for when the vine is on it. It won't be so heavy in the middle of those the side slat boards, you know. And then I went through and I sealed those with the same Cabot Australian Timber oil in natural. And here comes the fun part. We got two of our boys help. The other one was at work. So Joseph and Isaac were helping us, and they were so funny. They were running back and forth to get the soil, and then one of them stayed to just be the one filling up the buckets. And here we go. We have these beautiful, beautiful Monrovia, I think it's called Cecile Brunner climbing roses. They are the tiniest little roses, but they have so many petals. They're so pretty. So I'm really excited to have them. And it says that they're fragrant, so I'm hoping that they just fill that whole area with the smell of roses at some point. They get to about anywhere from, I think it's like 20 foot by 6 foot, but they're in planters. I don't know that they'll actually reach 20 foot. It would be nice because then it would just give that window some shade, which would be amazing. We couldn't make it as tall as that window because it would have been insanely tall. But I'm hoping that those roses just really climb up there and shade that window because that window gets so much sun. But yeah, here it is all done and I'm so excited. It's so pretty. So pretty. So thanks for hanging out. We got hailed on and rained on while we were filling that thing up with soil. It was a lot, but it was beautiful. And I guess we'll see you next time.